Welcome back to the Local Dreamer podcast. Today we're going to be rethinking 666. We've all heard the warnings, the number 666 related to the mark of the beast tied to some future tyrant rising from the shadows with horns, charisma, and a political agenda. A figure so obviously evil, we'd spot him from a mile away, right? But what if that's not the whole picture? What if 666 isn't just about some external villain, but a mirror? In Hebrew thought, the number 6 represents mankind, created on day 6. And I'm going to get into that in the beginning of this episode to lay down a foundation for my perspective on what 666 could mean. Today, we're peeling back layers, biblical, symbolic, and personal, to ask, could 666 be less about Satan worship and more about self-worship? Let's get into it. The Vav is the 6th letter of the Hebrew Alephbet, which gives it the numerical value of 6. The number 6 represents creation. In Genesis, we read that there were 6 days of active creation, and then God rested on the 7th. On day 6, man was created with all of the land animals. 6 represents work, as man is to work 6 days and rest on the 7th, revealing the incompleteness of man without rest or divine presence. In the Bible, we can see 6 as a pattern of the measurements in idolatry, human pride, and false worship. Goliath was measured to be 6 cubits. King Solomon's throne had 6 steps associated with kingly authority, but Solomon fell into idolatry, coming up one short of 7. Nebuchadnezzar's golden statue was 60 cubits high and 6 cubits wide. The number 6 shows us how humanity's best efforts come up short and incomplete, that leave us in bondage and striving to reach 7, which we will soon learn means divine perfection and completion. When you hear the number 6, you might think of 666, the infamous number of the beast. Revelation 13:18 says, "Let anyone with understanding solve the meaning of the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. In Hebrew, that's Vav Vav Vav, 3 Vavs, each representing the number 6. You may have noticed this symbol in certain branding, like a certain energy drink, calling us to unleash the beast. When we read the New Testament in English, we have to remember it was translated from the Greek. Greek also has a type of gematria. It's called Greek isopsephy. This is where letters also have a numerical value and can be added together to get a sum total. A Greek word that adds up to 666 is paradosis and is translated to mean tradition in English. And who is the creator of tradition? The answer is man, which is the 6, the Vav. Paradosis is defined as the transmission, a giving up or giving over, which is done by word of mouth or in writing, tradition by instruction, narrative, or precept. Seeing that paradosis adds up to 666, we could take this and replace it with the Vav. It would be Vav Vav Vav. And here we can replace it with the symbol of a man. Man, man, man. The Hebrew equivalent word to paradosis is the Hebrew word asur, which means bonds or devices, ideas, plans, and schemes for restraining a prisoner, which sounds like a good definition of religion to me. The gematria of asur is the Aleph, Samek, Vav, and Resh. Together, they equal 267. And when we reduce it to the root number, we get 6, which is man. Feel free to disagree with what I'm presenting. This is just food for thought. These are just things we can think about, and this isn't going to make or break anything. Could it be that 666 is pointing out what is Antichrist? Is man-made redemption, man's ideas, schemes, and plans to hold prisoners locked up in the bondage of this man-made trinity of traditions, bonds, bonds, bonds. This is a trinity you do not want to be stuck in. The trinity of man-made religion. But the good news is that Jesus, who is the Word of God made flesh, became a man, a Vav, who could break a man-made system. He who took the Vavs, the pegs, in his own hands to once and for all cancel the traditions of man that held creation in bondage. Jesus' last words on the cross were, "It is finished." Religion and tradition are now obsolete. Jesus took the force of our correction on himself once and for all. We have a doorway back in. There is no veil, no wall, and no man that can stand between you and your God. Can we appreciate the Vav symbolism here? Vav is the 6, which represents man, and Vav means peg, and these pegs or nails are what Jesus took in his hands on the cross. Jesus came as a man, a Vav, to break a man-made system by dying on the cross with the Vavs in his hands, the nails in his hands. We're going to also see how the Vav holds the prefix meaning of and, making the Vav a connector. The Vav connects man and God, heaven and earth. Jesus' body stood as a Vav between heaven and earth, connecting man once again to God. Let us not forget to look in the mirror and make sure that we are not the man that would be anti-Christ, because we find ourselves with no need for God but dependent on our plots, our ideas, and our schemes to be redeemed. Thanks for spending your time with me. If today's episode stirred something in you, if you learned something new, please give me a like and share it with someone. And if you really like this kind of stuff, I want to let you know that starting August 1st, I'm launching a brand new video course called Exploring the Hebrew Letters. Each week, we're going to dive into the meaning, symbolism, and spiritual depth of each letter, starting with the Aleph all the way through the Tav. I've also created a companion workbook to help you on your journey. You can get a copy on Amazon right now. I'll leave a link in the description below. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon and come back each week as we explore the Hebrew letters. See you soon.